Y or N sat on the cold bathroom floor, knees pulled tight to her chest. The test lay in front of her, still, unchanging, positive. Her heartbeat pounded so loud she thought she might faint. Pregnant. She is 18, a college freshman, and the father is her cousin. Her tears blurred the pink lines on the plastic. She pressed her trembling hands to her face. A tiny strangled sob slipped out. Y or N? What am I going to do? She tried to breathe, but every gasp felt too thin. YN. How will mom and dad look at me? How will his parents look at me? Panic closed in like a fist around her throat. Her future was a long, black tunnel she couldn't see the end of. Minutes passed, she didn't know how many before she managed to uncurl her body. Her hands still shook as she reached for the test, wiping her tears with her sleeve. YN. I have to tell him. She stuffed it deep into her backpack, as if hiding it there would make it less real. But as soon as she zipped the pocket shut, another fear started to crawl up her spine, cold and poisonous. What if he doesn't want it? What if he tells me to get rid of it? What if he disappears? Her stomach twisted, and she swallowed down another wave of nausea. No, she had to find him, talk to him, even if it meant hearing something she wasn't ready to hear. She left the house in a daze, not even sure how she made it onto the bus. The world outside the window blurred into shapes she couldn't name. When she reached campus, she went straight to the art building where he usually hung out between classes. Empty. She searched the courtyard, the library, the little vending machine alcove he liked to nap in. Nothing. Finally, she asked a classmate if they'd seen him. He didn't come today, the girl said, shrugging. He's busy getting everything ready for the move. Her throat tightened. Of course. She sank onto a bench, the weight in her chest heavier than before. As if the day hadn't already been cruel enough, Ryan's voice suddenly cut across the quad. Ryan, there you are, he called, and she flinched. She didn't have the strength to deal with him, not today. But Ryan didn't care. He was already striding toward her, Tiffany trailing behind in a skin-tight top and a mean little smile curling her lips. Y or N shut her eyes, wishing she could disappear into the bench, but when she opened them, he was already standing in front of her, tall and broad-shouldered, blocking out the sun. Tiffany, wow, you look like hell, she drawled, flicking her glossy hair over one shoulder. Y or N didn't answer. She didn't have it in her. Ryan folded his arms. Ryan, you've been ignoring my calls? Her voice came out flat. YN, I don't want to talk to you. Ryan, that's too bad, sweetheart, because I'm not done with you, he said, smirking. Tiffany laughed, high and sharp. Tiffany. She thinks she's better than everyone just because she let Taehyung screw her. YN's stomach lurched. For a second she thought she might throw up right there on the sidewalk. Tiffany, look at her, she went on, leaning in with mock sympathy. So pathetic, you're not even trying to deny it anymore. YN gripped the edge of the bench so hard her knuckles went white. YN, leave me alone. Ryan, or what? He challenged, stepping closer. His voice dropped to a hiss. Ryan, you think he's going to save you again? He's not even here. Tiffany's eyes glinted with mean satisfaction. Tiffany, probably found another girl already. That's what playboys do, right? YN bit the inside of her cheek until she tasted blood. Ryan, you know what? You could just come back to me. Everyone would forget. We can pretend none of this ever happened. Something inside YN snapped. She lifted her chin, meeting his gaze without flinching. YN, I'd rather be alone than crawl back to you, she said, her voice quiet but steady. Ryan's jaw clenched. Tiffany looked taken aback, then scowled. Tiffany, bitch. She spat. YN stood up, hugging her backpack to her chest. YN, I'm done here. She turned away before either of them could see the tears welling up again. By the time YN finally made it home, her legs felt like they might give out. She slipped her shoes off quietly and stepped into the warm glow of the hallway. The familiar scent of lemongrass and fresh laundry wrapped around her like a blanket. Sua was in the kitchen, tying her hair up in a loose bun. She looked up when YN came in and her whole face softened. Sua, there you are. You look tired, sweetheart, she said, her voice gentle. YN tried to smile. YN, just a long day. Her mother came over and cupped her cheek, brushing a thumb over the smudges beneath her eyes. Sua, you've been studying too hard. If only that were the truth. Sua, sit down. I made your favorite tonight, she said, guiding her to a chair. YRN blinked back tears. You don't even know what I've done. YRN sank onto the cushion as Sua set a steaming bowl of spicy tofu stew in front of her. The smell brought back 100 memories, rainy days and sick days, her mother fussing over her with the same tenderness she was showing now. A few minutes later, the front door opened. Her father's voice boomed through the hallway. Adam, I'm home. He stepped into the kitchen, still in his suit, carrying a little paper bag with the logo of her favorite bakery. When he spotted her, his eyes crinkled into a smile. Adam, there she is, my little girl, though she's 18 now, but still counts. She couldn't help it, her mouth curved up. YRN Dad, Adam, don't dad me, you love those custard buns more than you love us, he teased, dropping the bag in front of her. YN, that's not true, she murmured, but the fondness in his voice made something ache in her chest. He leaned down to kiss the top of her head. Adam, how was college? Her throat closed. YN, it was fine. They believed her. They always believed her. When they all sat down together, her parents filled the silence with gentle chatter, stories about her dad's office, about Sua's garden, about how proud they were that she'd grown up so smart and kind. YN felt the words like tiny knives in her ribs. They think I'm still their little girl. When she picked up her spoon, the nausea rose again, sour, relentless. She swallowed hard, willing it away. Sua, you're not eating? Her mother asked, worry etching lines across her forehead. YN, I'm just not hungry. Probably too much study pressure, she said quickly. Adam frowned. Adam, you've looked pale lately. Are you sure you're okay? YN, I'm fine. I think I just need to sleep, she lied. Her mother reached across the table and took her hand, squeezing gently. Sua, you can tell us anything you know. Her eyes stung. YN, I know, anything except this. After dinner, YN slipped away before her parents could ask more questions. She shut her bedroom door and leaned against it, squeezing her eyes shut. The house was so quiet, so safe, and she was carrying a secret that could shatter everything. She pulled her phone from her pocket and opened her messages. 10 missed calls to Taehyung, 7 unanswered texts. Where are you? Please call me. I need to talk to you. Taehyung, please. Not one reply. She sat down on the edge of her bed, pressing her palm over her belly. The nausea had faded for now, but her heart wouldn't slow down. You have to tell him. She'd thought about going to his house, but she couldn't face his mother, couldn't look into those kind eyes knowing what she'd done with her son. Her vision blurred. She swiped at her tears, but they kept coming. It's not fair. Her phone buzzed in her hand, making her jump. Taehyung. She hesitated just for a second and then answered. His voice came through, warm and cheerful. Taehyung. Hey, sorry, I didn't see your calls. She didn't speak. Taehyung. Today was crazy. My old high school friends dragged me out. Jimin, Hoseok, you remember them? We went to the arcade and this rooftop bar. God, it was fun. Her stomach turned. Fun. While she was here, breaking apart, he was laughing, drinking, living the carefree life of a boy who didn't have any consequences yet. Taehyung, YN, you there? Her hand curled so tight around the phone it hurt. YN, you didn't even check your messages, she whispered. Taehyung, what? YN, do you have any idea what today has been like for me? He went quiet. Taehyung, YN, what's wrong? YN, don't act like you care when you couldn't bother to answer me all day. Her voice cracked. Taehyung, what are you talking about? YN, while you were out having fun, I was here. She broke off before she could say it. Before she could tell him about the test, the fear, the way her parents had looked at her with so much love it almost killed her. YN, you think you're the only one who gets to escape? The only one who gets to pretend nothing happened? She choked out and he lost it too. Taehyung, why the hell are you shouting at me? He yelled a little. YN, don't yell at me. You don't have any rights. Taehyung, well, you don't have any rights to shout at me either. If I went out with my friends, what's your problem in this? I didn't ignore your calls purposely, so stop overreacting, he said without thinking much, breaking YN more, not knowing what storm is happening inside her. YN, I hate you. I hate that you get to be happy while I'm. The words slipped out, sharp and raw. Her breath hitched. She couldn't finish. Silence crackled over the line. Taehyung, while you what? Tell me, he said, voice low now, careful. But she couldn't. She ended the call and flung the phone across the bed, her chest heaving with sobs she couldn't stop. Why am I the only one suffering? Taehyung stared at his phone long after the line went dead. Her voice was still ringing in his ears, shaking, furious, broken. I hate you. No, she didn't. He knew her too well to believe that, but she sounded different, like she was drowning. He rubbed a hand over his face, guilt crawling under his skin. He hadn't meant to ignore her. He really hadn't. Jimin and Hoseok had ambushed him with a surprise goodbye party one last night before he moved to Arcton Vale. He thought she'd understand, but something was wrong, really wrong. He scrolled back through her messages. Please call me. I need to talk to you, Taehyung, please. He closed his eyes, cursing under his breath. Taehyung, why didn't I pick up sooner? He tried calling her again, but it rang to voicemail, and again, nothing. Finally, he typed out a flurry of texts. YN, please answer me. I'm sorry. I didn't know. Talk to me. Tell me what's happening. I'm coming over if you don't reply. Please, I'm worried. He stayed awake half the night, phone clutched in his hand, watching the screen like it might give him an answer. It never lit up. When YN finally cracked her eyes open, sunlight was spilling through the curtains. Her head felt heavy, her face tight with dried tears. She reached automatically for her phone, then remembered how she'd thrown it across the bed. Slowly, she picked it up. The battery was nearly dead. 11 unread messages. Her throat closed. She scrolled through them with shaking fingers. YN, please. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have ignored you. Whatever it is, you can tell me. I'll come over. Just say the word. Please don't hate me. Her chest caved in on itself. YN, God, what did I do? He did care. She knew he did. She'd let all her fear and guilt and panic turn into something ugly, and she'd thrown it at him because it was easier than admitting the truth. Tears blurred the screen again. She pressed her palm over her stomach, her heart beating unsteadily beneath her ribs. YN, he has to know. She took a shaky breath, wiping her face with the hem of her shirt. Today she would tell him everything. YN was pacing the living room, clutching her phone to her chest. When the doorbell rang, her heart lurched so hard she nearly dropped it. She ran to the door and pulled it open. Taehyung stood there, hair messy, eyes rimmed in red like he hadn't slept all night. He didn't say a word, just looked at her, searching her face for answers. And all the panic, the guilt, the loneliness inside her broke. Before she could stop herself, she threw her arms around his neck. His hands came up to hold her, warm and steady. Taehyung, hey, you scared the shit out of me, he murmured against her hair. YN, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have yelled, she whispered, her voice ragged. He pulled back to look at her, brushing a thumb under her eyewear. A tear slipped free. Taehyung, no, I am sorry. Just tell me what's wrong. Her mouth opened, but the words caught in her throat. Her mother is in the kitchen. What if she heard them? And besides, they were already late for their first class. YN, later. I'll tell you later. She spoke quickly, his brows knit together. Taehyung, but YN, please, just be with me right now, she said softly, her voice almost breaking. Something in his gaze softened. He nodded. Taehyung, okay. The morning passed in a blur of lectures she couldn't focus on. She kept glancing at time, waiting for the classes to end, but time started moving slower than usual. I have to tell him. After classes, YN hurried through the hall and out the main doors. The courtyard stretched out under a crisp blue sky, full of students eating and laughing, and there across the grass she saw him, Taehyung. He was sitting on the low brick wall under the old oak tree, and he wasn't alone. A girl stood in front of him, tall, pretty, with sleek black hair pulled into a ponytail. She was smiling, her hand resting on his knee in a way that made YN's stomach twist. She took a step closer, her heart thudding. The girl leaned in, whispering something in his ear. Taehyung looked up at her, smiling back, soft and familiar, like he'd done that 100 times before. No, YN's breath caught. He wouldn't, but then the girl lifted her hand, tucked a piece of his hair behind his ear, and he let her. For one awful, suspended moment, the world went silent. She felt the blood drain from her face. Her hand came up, pressing against her belly. You're pregnant with his baby. And he was sitting here, laughing with another girl. The nausea surged so hard she had to cover her mouth. 100 thoughts crashed through her head: fury, humiliation, heartbreak, but beneath all of it was one brutal truth: he's still a playboy. Her vision blurred, and she turned away before either of them could see her fall apart. YRN shoved open the heavy bathroom door and stumbled inside. The echo of laughter still clung to her ears like a curse. She locked herself in the farthest stall, pressed her back to the cold tiled wall, and slid down until she was crouched on the floor, hugging her knees. Don't cry. But the tears came anyway, warm and silent. After a while, she forced herself to stand. Her legs felt numb as she shuffled to the sink. She turned the faucet on and splashed water on her face, hoping it would wash away the ache. It didn't. When she looked up, her reflection stared back, red-rimmed eyes, pale skin, lips trembling. She looked small, pathetic. Her fingers curled tight around the edge of the sink. You've been played. The thought cut deeper than any insult Ryan or Tiffany ever spat at her. You let him touch you. You let him in. And now he's already moving on. She pressed her palm over her mouth to stifle a sob, but another voice inside her, quieter, crueler, whispered, "Why are you blaming him alone?" Her stomach turned. You knew he was a playboy. You knew he'd never stay. It was the truth. She'd watched him date girl after girl, never serious, never attached, and still, she'd let him crawl into her bed, into her body. It was your fault. Her fault for thinking lust wouldn't turn into something that could hurt. Her fault for believing she was immune. It was just supposed to be fun, but it wasn't fun anymore, because now her hand drifted to her stomach, flat under her sweater. You're pregnant, and that changed everything. She squeezed her eyes shut, fresh tears slipping down her cheeks. This was your choice, your consequence. So why did it feel like her heart was breaking? YRN was standing by the corner of the building when she felt a familiar hand tap her shoulder. She turned. Taehyung was there, smiling like nothing was wrong, like he hadn't just shattered her. Taehyung, I was looking for you. His voice so casual, so unbothered made her skin prickle. Taehyung, did you see her? That new girl? The one with the black hair? He laughed, rubbing the back of his neck. Taehyung, she's actually pretty hot, kind of shy though. I teased her a little and she practically turned pink. YN's ears roared. She felt her fingernails dig into her palms. He kept talking, words tumbling out in that easy, cocky way he always had. Taehyung, and she was all, I don't usually talk to strangers, and I told her she shouldn't be shy around me, just having a little fun. Her mouth moved before she could stop herself. YN, so, when are you planning to sleep with her? Tonight? The smile vanished from his face. Taehyung, what? Her throat burned, her whole body felt like it might crack open. YN, you must be getting bored of my body, right? I'm glad you found another. She went on, her words too fast, too raw. Taehyung, stop. His jaw flexed. Why are you talking like this? YRN, come on, Taehyung, don't pretend. You're a playboy. You can't stand being with one girl. This is just what you do. She spat, her hands trembling. His jaw tightened. Taehyung, don't compare yourself to them, he said quietly. Her eyes flashed up to his, blazing. YRN, oh, you're right. She swallowed around the lump in her throat. I shouldn't, because I'm worse than them. Taehyung, YN, he yelled, eyes turned red. YN, I'm pathetic. I'm your cousin. I let you I let you touch me like I was nothing. Her voice cracked, but she didn't stop. I let you ruin me because it felt good. Her chest heaved. He grabbed her wrist. Taehyung, stop it. YN, and now I'm the worst daughter, the biggest fool, because I actually thought maybe you'd stay. Silence fell so heavy it pressed the air out of her lungs. Taehyung reached for her, his eyes wide, mouth opening. YRN, I hate myself, she choked out. I hate that I let it happen, that I let you in. Taehyung, YN, stop talking like this. YN, and you know what? I deserve it. Tears blurred everything. I deserve to feel this sick, this scared. Because I should have known. He looked stricken, like she'd slapped him. Her voice dropped to a whisper. YN, this is my karma. A tear slipped down her cheek, and she pressed her shaking hand to her belly. YN, I'm pregnant. Taehyung stared at her, his mouth opening but no sound came out. Tears spilled over her cheeks as she pressed her hand flat over her belly. She whispered again, her voice small and ruined. YN, I'm pregnant, and it's yours.